Welcome back, guys, to KY Coins and Collectibles. And as you see here, I've got a bunch of different types of silver, different denominations. And what I want to talk about today is just a little bit about buying and selling and why you would buy and sell silver, and maybe which one is a little better versus not so much of a good as deal. Uh, there's better types of silver to buy. All silver is good in my opinion. I like buying silver. It's a precious metal, always going to have a value to it. And of course, some of these denominations have better dates in them. So when you're buying constitutional silver or junk silver, some people call it, a lot of the junk silver has numismatic value to it. Like a prime example is walkers here. There are a lot of better date walkers even in low grade conditions. Your earlier years, 16s through 21s, a lot of those have better dates, and they bring a little more than just your silver junk value. So as we talk through this, I'll hit on that a little bit. But I've got some prices that I want to give out, and as of today, which is 6/4/2024, so it's June 4th, 2024, and price of silver changes every day. It's been up here the last couple months. It's actually, we've hit some all-time highs within the last 10 years. We've hit some good price points, and that being over $30 an ounce. And I don't think it's been that high in the last 10 years. So we've done really good on our silver prices, and they're up right now. So a lot of people have been selling, a lot of people are buying thinking it's going to go on up, or they're selling because they've held it for so long and they've got a good return and they're needing to sell or get out of it. Or you've got purchases you want to make, you need to fix your porch, or your roof is leaking, car repairs, so forth. But that just shows what a good investment silver can be, and not just silver bars or bullion. Numismatic and junk silver, or constitutional silver, whatever you want to call it, it's silver. So it's going to be a metal that will hold its value. And with that said, I want to give you some prices on what stuff is selling for right now. And I just went solely off of eBay and the sold items. That's really how I figure the market out, is how it's selling on eBay. Because the last couple dealers, like coin shops, or just flea markets I went to, or just people that are buying, versus eBay, the prices have been kind of all over the place. And that depends on your market, where you live at. Your coin dealer is going to have different prices based on different demands. They may pay more of a premium if they're selling a lot of silver eagles. They'll pay a little more for them versus Morgans. But I like using eBay sold items, and what you do is just you go to the filter and you go down to sold items, and it will give you what they've been selling for, items that have actually sold. Because if you just look up a 1964 Kennedy half dollar, 90%, the prices are going to be all over the place, and usually they're way off what they're selling for. So go to the sold items, you can see what they're actually selling for, and that gives you a better idea. So we'll run through some prices, and then we'll kind of talk about why you buy and sell, and what I prefer. Everybody has their own reasoning for selling. And it's kind of like, I know if y'all have seen my videos, I buy stocks, I buy and sell stocks as an investment. And when you're talking to people about stocks, you can't advise them on buying something that is more risky versus something that is more like bonds versus individual stocks. Everybody knows bonds are pretty steady, whereas some stocks can be up and down. And that really depends on your age, why you're investing. Are you going to be holding this stuff long term versus short term? Are you wanting to buy and try to resell immediately? Or the long term, are you buying and wanting to sell in 10, 15, 20, 30 years? So I look at this like that as well, as an investment. So with that said, let's get to the prices. As of today, 6/4/24, this is what I've got off of eBay. I went through a bunch of different eBay sales, so my prices are going to be based off of that. And I will show you, I'll get on my phone here, and I will kind of show you what I mean by looking up items that have sold. And we'll do Kennedy half dollars. And so let me get off of the, because I've already got it saved to sold items and completed items. So here we go. You get on eBay and you look up Kennedy half dollars, 1964s. And for those that don't know, this is a Kennedy half dollar. 1964 was the last year they done 90% silver. After that, through 1970, they did 40% silver Kennedys, and then they just did away with circulating silver for the Kennedys. You look up Kennedy half dollars, 1964, and here you have a bunch of different things. Here's one selling for $16. It's BU Gem. Here's one selling for $7.28. And they're kind of, you got a bunch of different prices. So, and what I do is you can hit this little filter, or if you're at the top, up here in the corner, hit filter. You scroll down through all the filters and you hit sold items, completed. When you hit sold items, it will select completed items as well. So turn that on and show them. And then here we go. We got some really nice Kennedys for $14 here. Now them are nice BU uncirculated. And as you get down through here, you'll occasionally see one that'll have a line through it. They have made an offer and they had took a better offer for it. Now it looks like these are all from the same people because they have the same photo. So I'd like to go all the way down through and start looking at a lot of different stuff. So here we go. Here's one sold for $10. And here's some that sold for $11.72. Here's one that sold for $12. And $14.51 on that one, $12.7. So this will give you an average of what they're selling for. And what I do is I'll take 4 or 5 and add the price up and then divide it by 4 or 5, just get an average. And that's how I kind of look at what they're selling for. And honestly, when you're dealing with eBay, you kind of have to factor in, sometimes you have to factor in fees. So that is a problem. And if you want to do that, you can factor in 10 to 20% to be safe. So, and sometimes they add the shipping or it's free shipping. I really think it just depends on what you get out of it. But anyways, that just gives me an idea of what I've got for prices here. And we'll start with the Kennedys since that's what we done first. We was looking at the 64s Kennedys. I've got around $11 to $15 is what they're selling for, and that $11 to $15 range is really based on the condition of the coin. If it's nicer, and this one's in a lot better shape, and I think all of them I've got here are in pretty good shape. That one's in really good shape. Now you can get them dinged up, hoed and stuff, which they'll sell for less. And if they're not as good looking or if they've got toning, that this $11 to $15 is just a range of what I'm seeing them sell for. So Kennedys, they're selling for $11 to $15. So that's pretty good. And I've seen that go up a few dollars in the last couple months, because they used to be, I was looking at them around $8 to $10, and now they've kind of moved up a little bit. And silver has been really popular. Like, I see ads and articles on like Bloomberg or Market Watch, some of my stock websites. I'm starting to see more articles about silver. So it's getting a little more popular, and so of course that's going to raise the price. And every time you see a big news article or on TV about silver has really gone up, it gets people's attention, and they go out and buy. And when they're going out and buying, it's like demand and supply and demand. The price will go up, and that's kind of where we're at. And silver has so many other factors that go into it. I mean, are you at war? What kind of, it's micro and macroeconomics, how it really affects the price of silver. And I'm not one to preach a lot of doom and gloom to try to push silver up. I mean, everybody looks at it different, and towards the end of the video we'll get to like why you buy and sell and what you want to hold and why you want to do it. So on to the 40% Kennedys. In 67 or 65 through 70, they made the Kennedys out of 40% silver, and you can tell by looking at the side of them a big difference. The 40% are a little darker and then the 90%, big difference. So when you're coin roll hunting and you open up a big bag of them, it's pretty easy to tell the difference. 40% silvers are going between $5 and $7. That's where I've been seeing it, and that's kind of, if you're going to a coin shop, I've noticed it's mostly $5 is what they're wanting to buy them for. And I know they've got to make a little money. They can't pay you what they're worth and then turn around and sell them. So you can't really be mad at coin shops and places that have a lot of overhead, or they have a brick and mortar. They've got to make money too. So there's that. But the 40% Kennedys, $5 to $7. And another thing, like this is a big topic. We're going to move into the Walkers and Benjis just because we're talking about halves, but this also applies to Mercury dimes and Rosie dimes. If we take, and I'll tell you the prices real fast, and then I'll try to circle back to what I'm going to talk about. The Walkers, $12 to $15 is where I'm seeing those. And like I said, that depends on the mintage and the condition. And it's really just like real estate. It's location, location, location. more numismatic coins, it's condition, condition, condition. So this one's pretty. It's got some good wear on it, versus the one behind it has a little better detail, and those are pretty noticeable differences. So the better condition one's going to bring a little more, but they're going between 12 and 15. And then when you get up to a lot higher grades, they can really jump. I mean, it could be $20 to $50 versus if you starting to get into mint state, it could be 60 to 100 depending on the year and the mint. So they can really be all over the place. But for junk silver or constitutional silver value, coil value, which is just basically its silver content, $11 to $16, or I mean 12 to 15 is where I'm seeing those. And the Benjis, they're going from $12 to $15. That's where I'm seeing those. So they're about the same price. Just depends. And the walkers, they have better dates in them, so you need to look through your walkers for some better dates. And get you a red book. I'd showed it before. It just gives you the mintages and kind of what they're selling for in better condition. So once you get into the walkers, there are a lot of better dates you need to look for. Even if they're war or slick, if you find some good years, they're going to be worth a lot more than just junk silver value. The Benjis, there's really not a lot of better years. The 55 is probably 1955 is one of the better dates of that. So look for those, but mostly these are just going to be $11 to $16 depending on the condition. Now, if you have a mint state 66 Benji, of course it's really going to jump. You can have a $40 to $100 coin pretty fast depending on condition, because just any coin in mint state condition is going to bring more. So know that, and I'm not just saying like all Benjis are $11 to $16. Of course not. There are really good condition common coins that bring higher premiums because of their condition. So know that. But now on to the little topic I was talking about, the halves, and it corresponds with your mercury dimes and your rosies. And I'll go kind of different comparison. This 64 Kennedy, I was telling you, goes between $11 and $15. Okay, so the next expensive silver coin I was saying was the Walker, $12 to $15. So we'll say $11 to $15, and these range about $11 to $15 too. If they're about the same, which one do you think has more silver in it? They're both 90% silver, so you'd think it's got about the same amount of silver. Well, they don't. They do have 90% silver, but which one do you think still has more silver left in it or on it? Look at the condition and the wear. So I had seen a bunch of YouTube videos a while back, people comparing the weight of the coin. So if you were stacking silver, which one do you think would be better to stack and have more silver for the same price? The new Kennedys. Because, I mean, there's no wear at all on this coin versus this coin. So I want to show you, and I've got my little scale here. This is how big of difference, and I hope you can see, and this is just a very small scale I've got. And what I'll do is so it's at grams right now, it's zeroed out. I'm going to put the Kennedy on there. Let's get it a little better angled. This one's got 12.56. Now remember that, and I'll show you. 12 point, this is my little cheat sheet here I'm using to talk to you all with, to stay on topic, because I'm really bad. 12.56 grams for the Kennedy. Okay, so let's take the Kennedy off, and let's put the Walker that more or less will cost more. 11.97 grams. Okay. Kennedy weighed 12.56 grams. The Walker was 11.97 grams. That's a big difference whenever you add up a tube or just anything. That's a big difference. And whenever you go to sell, I think it's going to get to the point where they should weigh it, because here is a tube of Walkers and here's a tube of Benjis, and honestly I didn't count it, but I'd almost bet there's more Benjis than there are Walkers in here, because Benjis aren't as bad as the Walkers. Walkers are really bad, and Mercury dimes are really bad, and I'll show you Mercury dimes here too. So that's a big difference in weight. So what I'll do is I'll just do a rough estimate here, and so the Kennedy was 12.56, and you subtract what the Walker weighed, 11.97. That gives you half a gram, like really over half a gram. That's 0.59. So the difference is 0.59. So half a gram, 0.59. So if you've got a tube of 20, we'll make it easy. So you got a tube of 20, times that by 20, that's 11.8 grams. Times 20 equals 11.8 grams. So if you've got a tube of 20 Walkers versus a tube of 20 Kennedys, you're going to lose a whole coin. So you're losing basically $11 to $15 on a tube of 20 versus a tube of 20. You've lost $11. Okay, now that ain't too bad. Now imagine if you had 5 tubes of 20. Now you're talking a lot of money. I'm going to times that 11 by 20. You had 20 tubes, and you're basically losing a coin per tube. So you've lost 20 coins. If you've got 20 tubes, you're losing a coin per tube, and you've got 20 tubes, you've lost 20 coins. So 20 times 11.8 grams equals $236 is basically, let me make sure I've done that right. So you've lost 20 coins. Yeah, so 20 coins you've lost out of 20 rows times, say, $11. 11, or we'll just say 11. 11 times 20, you've lost $220 on 20 tubes. You're starting to add up some money. So if you're wanting to, my main point is, if you're wanting to stack it for weight, stack newer stuff. And I'll show you, I believe y'all have got my point, but I'll just show you on the Mercuries. Mercuries and Rosies are the same way. I cleared it. 2.42 versus a rosy 2.47. So it's not as bad on that one, but that one's actually in pretty good shape. I'll try to find one that's has a little more wear on it. I actually got some Mercuries that have some detail left on them. That one's kind of wore. 2.33. .43, so 0.10 grams, but that adds up on 10 coins. That could be a gram of silver you've lost. So whenever you're stacking, my advice is, if you're wanting to stack per weight, do newer silver. Do your Kennedys, your new, like Washington quarters, your newer ones, because you can find BU rows of quarters, but really it's between Kennedys and Rosies. If you're wanting to stack per weight, just do Kennedys, 64 Kennedys, and Rosies, like 64 Rosies. You can buy tubes of them. They are a lot better value for what you're getting. So, and they're cheaper. You can find a better deal on 64 Kennedys than you can a roll of 64 Walkers, and you're getting more silver weight-wise. So that's just a little public service announcement I was wanting to make. Like one big topic. I'm like, just be more cautious on what you're getting. The Walkers are more wore out versus your Kennedys, and you get more weight per coin. So when you're buying, just watch out what you're buying for and know why you're buying. I like to stack Kennedys more than I do Walkers. Now, if I buy a big collection that has Walkers in it, I'm going to treat it as such. But I like to stack newer Rosies and 64 Kennedys. They have more weight. If you're bringing in a bag of 100, that's going to I think it should bring you more money, because you've got a lot more weight in silver versus 100 Walkers. So just be cautious of that. And it's kind of this. It's really the same way with quarters, but a lot of people don't buy tubes of Standing Liberty quarters. They have a little more numismatic value than the Washington. Which Washington quarters, they do have key dates in them, like your 32S, 32Ds. Them are some better years. So when you're collecting quarters, watch out for the key dates, the lower years. And quarters right now, getting back on topic, what they're selling for, quarters are selling around $4 to $8. I know that's a big price range, but it really just depends on condition in the year. So that's where they're at, and really who you're buying or who you're selling to. Because if you go to a coin dealer and they're needing a bunch of Washingtons because they're selling good right now, they will give you a little more premium for them. If they were out in high demand, you can get more out of it on the upper end of the price range. So we'll say $4 to $8 on your Washington quarters. Dimes, we touched on the condition. Mercuries have better dates, like the 16D. It's a very rare key date of the series. There are also some better dates, like the 20s, 21s. Some of those are a little better dates. 19s, all the earlier years. they are selling around $4 to $9, just junk silver price. That's what I'm seeing on eBay. Depending on condition, I mean, if you got one wore out and it's a common year, you're going to be on the lower end of it. If you've got one a little better condition, and here's, I'll give you two with, this one's a little slick. That one's got some meat left on the bone. A little better condition. And like I said, there are key dates. Look for better dates. If they're really high mintage or low mintage and mint state condition, you'll get a lot more out of them. So be cautious. Go through your dates. All the older stuff, basically like Mercury dimes and Standing Liberty quarters, they have a lot of better dates in them. So really all your older stuff, look through it. Your Kennedys, there's not any good dates between the 40% and the 64s. There are some varieties you can look for, but more or less it's just silver. And the Rosies, there aren't really any key dates. It's easy to put a Roosevelt dime set together. Pretty easy. And with that said, the Rosies, the Roosevelt dimes are selling between $2 to $3.50. So, see, and that's crazy because your Mercuries are selling $4 to $9, and your Rosies are selling $2 to $3.50. But you're getting more silver than you are in the Mercury dimes. So I don't know. It's just a little backwards. If you get a bag of these, 100 Rosies versus 100 Mercuries, like common dates, slicks, you should get more for the Rosies. It's going to weigh a lot more when you have a big bag. So just be cautious of that again. But yeah, Rosies are going between $2 to $3.50, $4 if it's in BU, nice shape, older year. But more or less a couple dollars. On to the bigger item stuff. And I've just got a couple Silver Eagles here that I had laying around. There are better dates in your Silver Eagles. They started making the Silver Eagle in 1986. So the 86 is one of the key dates of the series. So be cautious of a couple key dates of the Eagles. I believe the 86 and the 95, and there's a couple other better years. And with them, the condition brings a premium as well on these. If they're scuffed up, and these aren't the best looking, this one has a little reflective. It might have been an old proof one, but it's been circulated, scarred up, beat up. But Silver Eagles are always nice, and they always really bring kind of the same price. They're going right now on eBay. I'm seeing $30 to $40, and that really just depends on condition and the year. Your 86s will bring a lot more. They can bring $40 to $50, or if they're graded, that could be $100, just depending on the grade. But get on there and just start looking through the sold items, and you can kind of see what stuff is selling for. And some people will add shipping included, or they'll charge shipping, or so just you gotta be cautious of that when you're selling. You got to know what they're selling for, and if people are selling them with shipping included. But more or less, $30 to $40 are what Eagle's going for. I really didn't see one below $32 when I just looked before I started this video. So $32 was really where I was seeing them at. And today's spot is $29.77. So what silver spot is $29.77. So that's really just a couple dollars over spot. And Silver Eagles always sell really good. They're very recognizable. they're 0.999 silver, versus your other junk silver is 90%. Your Silver Eagles are 99% silver. So that's a little tidbit. So Silver Eagles $32 to $40, and that's usually with free shipping. On to your Morgans and your older constitutional silver, your piece dollars and Morgans, and I don't have a piece dollar here, just my Morgans. Now I really like Morgans. They're easy to sell, very recognizable. Everybody knows a piece dollar, everybody knows a Morgan dollar, and these are 21s. I've got a tube of 21s here, and they're easy to sell. You can always go out and get $28 to $30 for these. On eBay right now, I'm seeing $30 to $45 for better dates or better condition. And the Morgans, they do have a lot of key dates. Whenever you buy Morgans, it can be a wore-out Morgan, but be an 1899 filly, and it's a little better date and better condition. So you do have to be very cautious of your Morgans and the key dates, semi-key dates. They will always bring a premium no matter what the condition. And the best example is the key date is the 1893S Morgan. It's in very low, I mean barely can make it out in low grades. It's $2,000 for a coin. So watch your dates on the Morgans. But I love stacking Morgans. I think it's a great thing to stack. It's always going to have its numismatic value. It's a constitutional coin, limited mintage. The 21s are the highest mintage out of the series. And they went from 1904 to 1921, and they didn't make a dollar, a big, like a silver dollar. So they started making them again in 1921s, and then they started making the piece dollars at the end of 1921. So with that said, they did make like 44 million piece dollars. And I mean, there was a Denver, San Francisco, and a Philly. So they did make around, I think, just looking at it or thinking about it, there was like 44 million made of like each of those mint marks. So there was a lot made. That's a rough estimate. I'm not looking at my book, so don't crucify me for that. There's just a lot high mintage of the 21s. And now when you get into like the pre 21s, in better condition, the premiums do come up a little bit. These, your 21s, I've seen sell from $30 to $45. So I do like stacking them. I think they bring a little more premium sometimes than your Silver Eagles. Even though those are 99% silver and these are 90%. These have a little better resale value. Everybody likes the Morgans. They're very recognizable, have a good history to them. Everybody can relate to them. Their grandparents had one. Their mom and dad had one. So they're very recognizable. I like stacking them. I like stacking all of them. But I like the numismatic value of the older stuff, and then the silver stackability of some of the newer silver, because whenever I go to weigh out a silver Kennedy and sell it, I'm going to have more versus a Walker. So that's my big main topics. Just kind of giving you a price range on everything, what it is right now. And now getting to like why we buy and sell and why collect. And I can really just speak for myself and kind of some of the people I've talked to at different shows and coin dealers and what people tell them and just what I hear people talking about in the comments. People buy for all different reasons. You think the world's going to end and everything's going to shut down, and you want to barter and trade for silver, for goods. That's a lot of people think that. I mean, that's a good reason to do it. People think the price is going to go up. I mean, you want to buy something in hopes that the price goes up. So, and that's what's happened. Silver always really does. If you look at the last 50 years or say 20, 30 years, silver's gone up. It's had its highs and lows, and it's come down and it's gone up. But more or less, if you bought this, and I'd showed you in the video before, I'd bought some silver back in, I think it was 2016, and I had decent returns on it. And I showed you, and gold was the big thing. I do like gold. I didn't really include gold in this one because I want to talk more about silver, but this can translate to gold as well. I mean, it's the same concept, just with a higher priced precious metal. Gold's going to cost more. I had a really good return on gold because back in 16, I think it was 16, I'd paid $1,300 an ounce, and now it's, I don't know, 22, 23. That's kind of where it was, 2,300, around there. So I've had a good return, and it's something I like to hold on to. I don't like, I do like my stocks, but I like having alternative source of investments, diversification of assets, and I think that's what everybody needs to do. And I'm no financial advisor. I don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just disclaimer, but that's what I do. I like being able to hold this in my hand and know I can get $25, $30 out of that. I can get $25, $30 out of that one. $25, $30, $30, $25. I've got value here in my hand. And with that said, my stocks are basically just on a computer. It's in a portfolio. If the lights go out, the electric goes out, that's probably gone. But when I think of that, and like I said, I don't like preaching doom and gloom, but I try to be realistic, and I also try to think of different scenarios if stuff happens. And people always say, like, well, if the stock market goes out, you're going to lose all your money. Well, that's very true, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's what could happen. But what do you think people would do if the electric went out and the internet went out, or we got hit with a big EMP, financial market crashed, and we went into this big Great Depression, recession, and people started panicking? Yeah, I'd be heartbroken and probably on the verge of a breakdown if I lost my stock. But if the electric goes out and stuff crashes, people are going to be rioting in the streets, and I'm really not going to be probably worried about my stock market money. I'm going to be worried about my family and keeping them safe and having resources to keep them alive and try to make it through this dark period in hopes it comes back. So, with that being said, I like to have multiple sources of income and assets, and this is a big part of it. I'm not 100% stocks, I'm not 100% silver. I diversify. And honestly, if you think the world's going to kind of come to a dark point in life, you need to be buying you a cabin or house up in the woods and starting a garden and drilling a well and having solar panels or some type of off-grid setup. And I know there's probably a lot of people on here that do that, but that's a good investment. You can have an off-grid location. I mean, if you really think that's going to happen, you need to have you something up in the hills or up away from out of the cities. Learn how to grow a garden and have you a bug out bag, have you some if something's going to happen. And honestly, like a lot of that stuff I've started doing. We've started growing a garden, learning how to live off the land a little more. We've got a very nice garden going, and that's just it helps. I mean, it eases my mind if something ever was to happen. I know we can garden. We know how to hunt and process meat. I live in Kentucky, so deer hunting's very big and popular. It's a very nice community where I live at, and there's deer hunting, squirrel hunting, and I know maybe some people on here, but I think most people are okay with killing and processing animals and eating them. I know we've kind of really gone from that, but we have a season when we do that. You can kill a couple deer, process the meat, freeze it, and have it to eat on. My wife has started making bread. We make bread, pasta. We grow our own vegetables. We're trying to be more self-sufficient instead of dependent on outside stuff. And honestly, we love it. Like it's really been heart-filling, and we know we're more independent. We don't have to depend on other stuff as much, and that goes a long ways. And it kind of goes hand in hand with this stuff, depending on why you're wanting to stack. Grow you a garden out on your porch or your back, your deck or your balcony. It's easy to grow tomatoes or potatoes and stuff, carrots, broccoli, lettuce, corn. You don't have to have much land. You just need a little spot to grow you something. So that's what we've been doing over the last couple of years. Started doing that. And I'm not doing it to think that the world's going to end or we're going to have to move up and the holler and close the gate. Don't think that's going to happen. But you know what? We got peace of mind if something ever did happen. Now, do I think anything's going to happen? No, it's probably not. We've been through so much in the last 200 years in the U.S. So, with that said, I do believe in stacking silver for multiple reasons. And when I diversify my assets, I diversify within my assets. So I'm not just buying silver, dimes. I'm buying everything. I'm buying Eagles. I like Morgans, Kennedys, everything. It all sells good. And if you can get good deals on stuff, get it, stack it up. You may not want to sell today, but buy and hold for 5-10 years, and you'll get your money out of it, what you've had in it. If you don't trust the banks, go buy you $5,000 worth of silver. Put it in the safe or a lockbox or bury it in the backyard. I don't really recommend that, but you can. I mean, just make sure you tell somebody where you buried it. And because I know people that do that. I've had a lot of my friends. I had one of my good friends tell me he was bulldozing around his house that his dad had lived at, and there was a big old kind of hump in the yard, and he was dozing it down to kind of level the property out about 5 years after his dad died, and he busted up a big mason jar of like cash and silver coins, and it was the mason jar, and he remembered his dad talking about wanting to bury some money in the yard, and supposedly he did, and he never knew anything about it or where he put it, and he just so happened to find it whenever he was dozing the yard over. So kind of leveling it, and he had his dozer out there and just so happened to find it. And I think it ended up being like $10,000 worth. So people really do that. And so just make sure at least somebody knows, or you put it somewhere where somebody can find it. Because you never know. You may take off tomorrow and you get killed and your family don't know what you done with your silver. I know everybody that's watching this has probably heard about the big Kentucky hoard, the gold that they found up in northern Kentucky. I mean, it was a few $1 million worth of gold out in the cornfield, and this guy was just out pretty much looking for arrowheads or metal detector or something like that. I've heard a lot about it, and they had buried it during the Civil War. I guess nobody knew where it was, so it had stayed there for this long. I mean, over 100 years, 150 years it's been there. And so it happens. People bury stuff. There's a lot of stuff buried out there people's forgot about. So if you do that, make sure you make note of it somehow. But I don't really recommend it. Lock boxes and safes, I mean, they're safe. So make sure you take care of your silver, store it properly. Silver and gold doesn't really rust, or it's a precious metal. You won't really see. They will tone and kind of tarnish, change colors, but you don't have to worry about it rusting or having any problems like that. So that's really it. And it really, another thing, just know why you're buying. And I was talking about that earlier in this, like if you buy stocks, like know why you're buying, know why you're selling, and think of why you're buying it. Why did I buy these? Am I going to hold them for a couple days and try to make a couple dollars a piece? Or am I going to hold them for 5 years and try to make $5 a piece? Honestly, I'd like to sell, right now, I like to sell some of my collection and work more on my property, where we've got a farmhouse. I would like to take some of my collection and sell while price is up a little bit, and work on the farmhouse. Maybe invest in my garden a little bit and work on it. Get I think I really do like working on the farm. I like to have stuff around the farm, and to me, I would rather have a nice property off grid, not really off grid, but buy you a backup generator. I mean, here in eastern Kentucky, we have a lot of power outages, and I think they've gotten worse in the last few years. Weather's been unpredictable. I think it's a good idea to go out and buy a generator. And that really depends on where you live. Generators are very nice. And if you don't think they are, have a power outage for a day or two, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, it's worth every bit of it. Generators are a good purchase. We bought one a couple years ago. We've used it about 5 times, and it has been the nicest thing ever. So I think that's a good investment, and I wouldn't mind cashing in a stack of silver to buy a generator. Now that I have one, I definitely would do it again. And just having, I really like stuff that I can use for my family and would be very usable in case of an emergency. We don't really have anything wrong right now, knock on wood. I think I just heard my hot water heater blow up after I said that. So I like to have this hanging around in case of emergencies like that. I know I can go out, get my money, and fix the problems I've got. So that's kind of why I do it. I do want to cash in some of it and just work on my farm. It's the middle of, well, it's June right now. The garden's looking good. We've been working in the garden. So I want to keep the garden going good. I love fresh produce. It's so much better for you. This stuff we're buying at the stores are killing us, giving us cancer. Everybody knows that. But I think I want to spend some of this. I will keep I'm going to keep a lot of it, but some stuff, we've got a good sized little farm and a farmhouse we're working on, trying to fix up. And I do want to fix it up nice. And I want to integrate stuff into it in case of emergencies. Like I said, a generator. It's nice having a generator hooked up to your breaker box. If the electric goes out, your generator kicks on. That's very nice. Or having supplies, water, having a drilled well, having your own source of water, stuff like that. I think those are good investments that can be utilized to make your life easier in case of emergencies. So that's kind of my little bit of information and kind of what I do and why I buy and sell. I do like numismatics. I love putting sets together. I've showed you my type set, my Morgans, Walkers. I've got Benji sets. I love the hobby of collecting numismatics. And wheat pennies. And going through my wheat pennies, whenever I get a roll of wheat pennies or a bag, I love just looking through them. It's a good hobby, and it's a good, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a good, relaxing, heart-filling hobby for me to do. I love just looking through the dates, looking at the dates, and seeing if I can find a 22 over 1 or a 20, just anything for varieties, errors. I like doing that with my coins. So I do like the hobby when it comes to searching through stuff for key dates. That's just very filling for me. So with that said, that's really it. I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. If y'all wanting to see something different or me talk about something different, I try not to make these videos long, but here we are almost at an hour again. Thank you all for sticking with me. And hope y'all learned something. Key takeaways. I like the topic on the Rosies having more weight than your Mercs, and the same thing for your Kennedys versus the weight of the Walkers. Be cautious of that, because whenever you fill up a bag of Kennedys versus a bag of Walkers, the 100 Walkers versus 100 Kennedys, you're going to have a lot more weight in the Kennedys than you will the bag of Walkers. And in the weight, you're talking a few $100s, so that makes a big difference. Especially if silver goes on up, which it will. In gold, back to gold, the one thing I do really want to work on is converting some of my silver to gold. I do like having, I like the pre-33 gold. I know it has more of a premium and numismatic value. I do like that. And I just sent off a 20-piece set of coins to PCGS a couple days ago, so be on the lookout for that video. They'll be back hopefully in a month or month and a half. So watch out for that video coming up. It was some walkers, I think some Morgans, just a little bit of everything. My membership to PCGS renewed, and I had a handful of coins I was wanting to send off. So I always do like a 20, because I feel like if you do more coins, it breaks up that fee, that shipping and handling fee. Because if you ship one coin versus 20 coins, it's going to cost you the same. So I'd rather help split that fee up among the 20 coins versus just one coin. And I have an NGC membership as well, and I'm about to make a load of coins, about to send out a load of coins for them as well. So I've got some I'll have some coins coming back from PCGS and NGC here in the next couple months, hopefully. So just watch out for those videos. Again, I appreciate everybody watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. Just comment below why you collect. Do you think silver's going to go up? Do you think silver's going to go down? Why do you collect? Do you like buying and trying to set up collections with numismatic value, or do you just collect pure silver? I know a lot of people just collect silver eagles and bullion, but I think a lot of people are getting into junk silver, constitutional silver, and I mean, at worst case, it's got its face value. I mean, it's a 50 cents, $half right there. So it does have that as well. And your silver eagles, they're a dollar, so a dollar value. But guys, that's really it. Thank you all so much. And I think we just hit an hour on this video, so I know y'all are probably killed listening to me. But let me know in the comments what y'all think. Thank you all again for staying around and being part of my community. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. I appreciate it. Hope y'all have a good week, and happy collecting. Y'all be safe.